To me, Orion was very much giving, I'm telling Pastor Cal on you, Lauren, because you offended me, and now you're going to have to sit in the principal's office. I was like, Orion, who are you? Who are you? Like, okay, you were offended. She apologized. Like, what else do you want Lauren to do? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brennan and Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brennan and Yvonne. Here at my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows, y'all. It's Wednesday night, so we gotta talk about Lifetime's Married at First Sight down in Denver. This is season 17, episode 7, titled A Honeymoon, Rockier Than the Mountains. Before we get into it, I do want to thank y'all for continuing to subscribe to the channel. This is a growing channel, so please hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like the video if you enjoy the content. I have plenty of other content you could check out on the channel after you finish watching this video all the way through. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think of Orion and Lauren. We're going to get into that. And share the video where you like to share your videos. Tag me on Twitter if you share this video at Brandy Yvonne on Twitter as well. All right, so let's get into it, y'all. So last week, they didn't give nothing. It was boring, okay? So that's why I only did that little short. So if you didn't see the review for last week, I did a short. It is in the Married at First Sight playlist. This week, they actually gave us a lot to talk about, more so with Lauren and Orion. So we're going to get into that. Y'all know I do couple by couple. We'll save Lauren and Orion for last. And we'll start out with Becca and Austin because they ain't really got a lot to them, okay? So Becca and Austin, the main things that was happening with them, y'all. Becca they were sitting there and having like breakfast, I think. And so, or they was eating something. And so Becca was like, well, I guess Austin was asking her, like, what do you want to talk about right now? She's making jokes about how she's not really born with pink hair, like, duh, girl. And so then she was talking about religion. She wanted to have religion talk. She said, is that good to talk about right now? He's like, no, we don't need to talk about that right now. Like, we can wait and talk about it later. You could tell Becca felt some type of way about that. She felt like she's trying to get him to open up, but he's pushing her away. I feel like with Becca and Austin, okay, I see both sides. Like, I'm not mad at Austin for saying, like, no, we don't need to talk about it now, but y'all do need to talk about it. And I feel like Becca's trying to, like, she wants to talk about all the hard stuff right now. And I feel like there just needs to be a balance. Like, yeah, we do need to have these hard conversations, but we also need to enjoy this honeymoon, girl, because y'all weather in Denver is horrible. So y'all need to soak up all this Cancun sun y'all can get. So yeah, he wasn't really trying to have that conversation right now. Then later on, we do see them, I believe they were on the beach, and he was saying like he wanted to talk about, you know, that situation because he knows in the past, like, she's had guys she's dealt with that didn't want to have those conversations and it didn't work out, and he didn't want her to feel like that's what he was doing. And she's like, no, I don't. And she said in the past she's used those deep conversations as a way to connect to a guy, and she connects too soon. So they did have compromise. And then she said that she grew up Jewish, but she's agnostic. And he said he said, I'm just regular old Christian. He said his parents did have religious view issues, so he would like to, you know, see how they navigated that. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Could you be with someone who has a different faith value as you? For me, I would say that's a deal breaker for sure. Like, I couldn't be like somebody who's Muslim and I'm Christian. I'm a Christian. So I wouldn't want to date someone who didn't believe in God, because that is like the foundation. So I'm interested to see how they would work because they have so much in common. So I'm very intrigued to see how that's going to go, if that's going to break them up or if it's going to make them better or stronger, what's going to happen. Becca feels like they can still have a strong foundation. I don't know. Maybe they can. I don't know. I think that was all they really had going on. And he was kind of slighting her for being messy in the hotel. That was really all they were giving, y'all. Claire and Cameron. So Cameron, I guess he couldn't get any sleep because he had like woke up with an ear infection and stuff. I think before that they were just talking about how they're like starting to connect and how's it going to be when they move in. They might have talked about that later. Anywho, Cameron couldn't sleep because he said he dived in the water too hard and something popped. So Claire said she had a mandatory work meeting, so he's going to go to the doctor while she's at that meeting. So he went to the resort doctor, but she said she don't specialize enough to know if he has an infection or not. So he went to the hospital in Cancun, right? So then later on, we see the whole group coming for dinner. And they're like, "Where's Cameron?" Kara was like, "Well, he had to go to the hospital because he had a whole ear infection situation. And but hopefully he'll be back. He should be back. Maybe this is his escape plan. I don't know." And I was like, "Girl, Claire, do you care if he coming back? Do you care if something wrong with his ear?" Like, girl, it was very much giving. I really don't care if Cameron comes back or not. Cameron did come back, and he brought her a big bouquet of flowers, y'all. I was like, "Come through, Cameron." Cameron won 10 points back for me because y'all know I didn't see it for him at first. He doing a lot, so she really appreciate that. She stood up and hugged him. I feel like she should have gave him a kiss in that moment. That was kiss worthy in my opinion, but they ain't been kissing, so that might have been weird. And so she was really taken aback by that, and she really appreciated it. And so then later on, I guess his ear is getting better, and then they were talking in the bed about how how's it going to be when they, live life together and all that. And she knows his breakfast order. And I thought that was good. They're trying to grow an intimacy, she said. And, they're just trying to work on the things they need to work on and all that good stuff, and how they want to combine their lives and getting back. She wants to get back to her work routine. And he said, we don't got to be up under each other. But, when we have our downtime, we relax, we come together. And I think that's what most couples do, right? So we'll get to that dinner scene too. So that was pretty much, I think, it with Cameron and Claire. She was just saying like she wants to let her guard down with him more and be more receptive to like the physical touch and all that, and they're growing in intimacy and all that. I don't know, Claire also gives me very nervous on the camera, like she's nervous to be with this man in his hotel room. So sometimes I'm not sure if she doesn't like him or she's just nervous. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Then let's get to Emily and Brennan, y'all. Emily and Brennan were, we saw them out for dinner, okay, because they showed a couple of the couples out for dinner after Lauren and Cameron. And Emily and Brennan were out for dinner, and they're just talking about how many kids they want to have and how they want to raise them as far as religion goes. Emily said she's raised Catholic, but she doesn't want to raise her kids like that. She said it felt very cultish to her. That's what she said, not me. He said he grew up Jewish, and I think he wants to raise his kids that way. She said she'd be fine with doing that, and she would even convert. I feel like Emily is just, compromising all day. So then they both decide they want a girl and a boy. They want the boy to be older. He's like, "How we spending football Sunday?" He named a team. She said she'd become a Denver Broncos fan, so he said he can compromise on that, so she compromising on everything else. And he said something about his parents said that they might not get along because they might not agree on everything, but then they are getting along because they are agreeing, he said. And I'm like, anywho, so then later on we see them playing like basketball and something else at the resort, and I was like, who does that? Like, I'm not going to Cancun to play basketball. I'm about to be out in the streets. I'm about to be by the pool, in the pool party, having a margarita. Like, what? Having shots of tequila. Like, what y'all doing? So mind you, Emily got the drink in her hand the whole time, shooting the basketball with her left hand. I said, I know that's right, Emily. He said, "I like how you're not putting that drink down." I said, me too. And so then they got done playing, and I guess he let her beat him. And so then she was like, I don't know if she said, "Are you having fun or do you like to have fun?" Right? And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm having fun." Like, "I don't know, I'm having fun." Like, what? And then she was like, "Oh, I expected you to be more competitive." And he's like, "Oh, because I let you win." Like, "Oh, no, we're just having fun. It's fine." So then they were just kind of talking about whatever. And so then they were kind of back more. And I don't know if they didn't know the cameras were on them. And they made a reference on this, an after party with Keisha Knight Pulliam, a.k.a. Rudy. And so they were talking, and he brought it up again. And he was like, "Oh, what? I'm not having fun. I don't know how to have fun." And then she was like, so then he brought it back up, and I was like, why is he so agitated about that comment? And she was like, "Sorry." And then he's like, "Why would why would you say that? Like, I like to have fun and da-da-da." And then she's like, "Okay, I see, getting you mad." And then he was like, "No, it takes a lot for me to get mad. Really, like, only my parents have gotten me mad. And she was like, oh, maybe your wife. And she was like, yeah, I'm, realizing a switch up with him. So on the after party, y'all, did y'all catch the after party? On the after party, Claire and Lauren said, Brennan be giving Dr. Jekyll Mr. Hyde. He be switching it up real quick. Like off camera, he's a little meaner. He'll like, if Emily gives her opinion or says something, he'll laugh at it. And she's like, I guess oblivious, like she's not tripping on it or picking up on it. And when I heard that, I said, I knew it was something to that Brennan. I said, I knew it was something to that Brennan. And I said, Emily, you in danger, girl. Emily is in danger. And Emily, girl, you better bring that tough, outspoken, sarcastic, like you said, side back out. Because you're going to have to give it to him. Because he finna play. Girl. Don't be letting him do you like that. Do not let him do you like that, girl. Do not. Do not. So anyway, let's talk about Lauren and Orion. No, let's talk about this dinner that the whole cast did when Cameron came back with the flowers. Then we'll talk about Lauren and Orion. So I think this is the only scene where we had everybody together, except for when they was trying to leave and Lauren and Orion had to talk to Pastor Cal. So they all came to dinner. Cameron came with the flowers, like I said, and they were talking about how it's going to be when they get back to real life and how they're going to blend their lives and what they got for the honeymoon, what they learned. And I don't remember what everybody said they learned, y'all. Okay. They were talking about how they were going to navigate their relationships, and Austin and Becca said that they're choosing to wait to have some of the hard conversations, not having them all right away, to kind of like take a little bit by the time kind of thing. And so Emily and Brennan said, they're starting to get more into the hard conversations, and they both agreed, like, there's no right or wrong way to do it. And then Lauren said she learned a lot from, what her and Orion went through. And she said she wanted to see what made Orion tick, and she saw it. She got what she asked for. She said she definitely learning that she needs to work on her tone and elevating and all that. And so Orion said, he, in his confessions, he said he needs to open up more, but he doesn't know who can share with the group everything he's really going through. But he said he did say at the table that he needs to like open up more and share and all that. And so, Emily, I think at the table talked about how she could like speak very, I guess, with sarcasm and maybe bluntly or something. And so she wants to work on that because she doesn't want to affect her relationship with Brennan. I don't remember what he said he needed to work on, but he apparently got a whole lot he need to work on, okay? And then Claire and Cameron are going to work on the usual stuff they always trying to work on. Something he brought up, and he was like, I never said it to you, but I don't know how you're going to take it, but I feel like what did he say? I forgot how he worded it, but basically like you weren't as receptive in the beginning, something like that. And so she took it well, whatever he said. Anyway, also they talked about how they got to travel back together and how they traveled there together and it wasn't good. And so Cameron was like, it was good for me, it wasn't good for you. I was like, ooh. And so she was like, well, you were like running off from me and da-da-da. And so he's like, oh, so you felt like I abandoned you. And then she's like, dang, you being a little dramatic. And so then he was like, that's not what it was, right? And so that's what it was. And then she was like, well, it just felt like you were like, walking off and I can't walk as fast. And so, hopefully he won't, leave her walking like that again when they come back, but we'll see. Okay, so let's get to Lauren and Orion because that's the only thing we really came here for, y'all. So the episode picks up where they left off with Lauren and Orion talking about at that dinner, she just exposed the fact that she slept with somebody before the process started. So she said, I slept with somebody a couple weeks before I knew I got chosen to be on the show. I don't see the problem. Ain't like she got chosen to be on the show and then she did it, or she did it right before the wedding. She didn't know she was going to be on the show yet. So what's the big deal? In my opinion. Okay, so then he was like, honestly, that takes sex off the table for me. Y'all see how he did that hand movement? Okay. So he said, honestly, that just takes sex off the table for me. And so then I think she said, okay, well, that's it on sex. Like, that's a wrap. And then she was like, oh, so you don't want to have sex because I said I slept with somebody else? And then he was like, well, yeah, kind of. That's part of it. And then she was like, okay, but what does it matter? Like, I wasn't in the process yet. He's like, well, I just choose, to do things different. And I don't understand how you knew you were going to be in this process and what were your intentions if you're going to be doing that. So then she was like, I don't feel like it's fair for you to like judge me in that way. Like, I didn't know I was going to be chosen. I wasn't engaged yet. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. And she was like, if that's, you don't want to have sex with me because of that, that's fine. She don't want to talk about it no more. She's done with talking about sex right now. And then she was like, I just really want to, sit here and be in silence at this point. So then I guess he couldn't take the silence, right? So then he was like, oh, well, I really don't want to sit here in silence. Like, I feel like we need to talk about it. She's like, what more is there to talk about? Like, we don't need to talk about it right now. She's like, I don't feel safe in this moment, so I don't want to talk about it. No problem. No problem. So he was like, well, I'm sorry if I made you feel like I was judging you for having sex before the thing. She was like, first of all, I'll need one of those sorry if apologies. Like, you're more mature than that. You're better than that. Don't give me no one of them sorry if apologies. And she was giving us all the sister girl, and he deserved all the sister girl she was giving. And she was not elevating her voice. Maybe she had a tone, but she was not elevating her voice. So then they was going back and forth back in that scene a little bit. But she was like, I'm done with it. She was like, okay, are you saying, you're not going to have sex with me because of me just having sex with somebody else? And then he was like, I'm not saying, that's the whole thing, but that is part of it. She's like, okay, that's nothing left to say then. That's all. I said, I don't want to talk about it. That's all. And so he keep trying to make it like he wasn't saying that, but he was saying that, but he wasn't. He was flip-flopping, and she was like, you're not being consistent in what you're saying in this conversation, so therefore it's not working for me. And he kept trying to backpedal and pee-popping and was not giving what needed to be gave. Like, what are you saying? You are basically saying you don't want to have sex with her because she had sex 2 weeks before the process. That is what you're saying. But then you kind of trying to say, like, oh, I'm not saying it all the way that, but that's really what it is. That's what it is. She's like, just say what it is, right? So they were upset. So then we see them going to bed later on. And she walked through, and then she was like, oh, funny seeing you here. And so then they went to get to bed. And then it looked like he had on a Skull Candy shirt, but I don't know, it was a Japanese shirt or something, y'all. So then he was like, is there any, like, temporary Band-Aids we could put on this? And then she was like, no. She was ready to go to bed. She didn't have her bonnet on. She wasn't sharing no bonnets with him, nothing. So she was like, just, tell me, are you not wanting to have sex? Oh, no, he asked her, are you thinking that I don't want to have sex with you because you said you had sex 2 weeks before the process? Is that why you're upset? And then she was like, that's what you said. And he was like, no, that's not what I meant. Like, that's not really what I'm saying. And then she's like, okay, then what are you saying? Because that's what you said. And so then he's actually trying to like flip it, but he's literally saying the same thing, but flipping different words with it. And I'm like, but that is what you're saying. And so then he was saying, I'm not saying like that's totally all of it. I'm just saying like if that's how you chose to navigate the process, but that, that could be part of it. She's like, okay, well now you're finally being honest because you're saying right there that it is because of that. And so, she basically was done with it. She laid down and go to bed because she was tired of him. And I was tired of him too. And Orion, we have plenty we could judge you for, sir. And yet you judging this lady for sleeping with somebody before she even knew you existed? Before she even got on this show? Like, how dare you? How dare you? Oh, and then it get worse, y'all. Because Orion had me heated, y'all. Orion had me heated. I mean, all of Lauren's black girl tears, I felt them. Like, I almost wanted to cry for her. So, then I think the next day, I believe the next day she said she woke up and Orion was out the bed or something. I can't remember if it was that scene or not. I think it was. So then she got Dr. P on the line. Okay, they had to get all the experts on the line for them, right? So they got Dr. P on the FaceTime, and she wanted to sit and talk with Dr. P because of the conversation that came up in the situation, and Orion is feeling bad, like he can't move past it, and he's still trying to deal with his emotions. Y'all know how he do. And he said he feels like he failed it Lauren as a husband, and she let him know in that moment, no, you didn't fail me as a husband. And he's like, yeah, the way he said basically what she said. She said she had sex with somebody 2 weeks before the process, and I said I didn't want to have sex with her due to that, and it just came out the wrong way, but that is not how I currently feel. But he still don't want to have sex with her, he said. And so he let Dr. Pia know all that. And so Dr. Pia was saying, well, you're saying all these negative things, and let's take out the negativity. Let's put positivity in. She said the relationship is like an emotional bank, and we need to put more good into it and not keep taking out the bad. And so Lauren reassured him in that moment, again, like, you didn't, fail me as a husband and all that. Like, she said she could give him grace and all that good stuff, right? And so, they worked it out, they talked it out, and they seemed to be fine. And so she said she needed space. No, he said he needed space to kind of get himself back together, and he's about to cry. Now, he about to cry every 5 minutes. And the amount of emotional labor that Lauren is having to do as the woman, I'm not saying men can't cry. I'm not saying men can't be emotional. Don't get me wrong. Men can't be sensitive. There's plenty of sensitive men. There's plenty of men that cry. I prefer men cry and get their emotions out than do something they regret, right? But the way he is so in, like, he can't even get out of it, just bogged down in, like, that emotion. I was like, I need him to get a grip. I need him to breathe. I need him to get together. Like, why is you want to cry all the time? So, anywho, and I've went through periods of life like that, so I get it. But Lord, it was just too much. So then later on, I don't know if it was like the next day or what happened. And so then Lauren went to work out, I believe. And so Orion was saying something, I guess, at some point about he didn't feel like, I think it was after the group dinner, that he didn't feel like she had his back. And, she had said, she apologized for the comments she made about his culture and all that. And he still, she said she talked to him in the tub. They talked it out that night. He said he forgave her. He let it go. He moved on. But now he's saying he has not let it go, and he's still upset about it. So he slept. I guess he was out the bed. She went to go work out. She came back, and then he, is feeling bad about everything as well. They're both feeling bad. They're both feeling like they can't get over the emotions of it. And she's apologizing again. He's apologizing, and then he's crying. And so then she got to console him. And I was like, what? What is going on? She having to nurse him back to good times. So I was like, what is happening here? So then, now mind you, had on this green blue polo shirt, y'all. And so I'm thinking this is like the day they're getting ready to go home, I think. And so somehow now this has evolved to where he is so upset that he needs to talk to Pastor Cal, because he's saying that, oh, Lauren, she made, because in his confessional, he was saying, like, I'm still not over what Lauren said. Like, she made these crude, disrespectful jokes, and she did this, she did that. And I was like, what? Like, I thought you forgave this lady. Like, he was putting a lot on it, y'all. Was it just me, or was Orion putting dubs on it, right? So then he get Pastor Cal on the line, and he's telling him, like, yeah, I just need to talk to you because, me and Lauren had this situation where she made a crude joke about my culture, and it was just really insensitive, and it really upset me, and I never got to speak my speech about, how I felt about it, and every time I try to talk about it, it gets interrupted with elevated speech and her tone and her this and that, and he's just like, I'm just so offended by Lauren. And I was like, what? Like, how are you so offended, Orion? How are you so offended? She gave you so much grace last week and this week, especially this week after you dang near slut-shamed this lady. You did slut-shame this lady. And she forgave you. I need my water, y'all. Lauren has forgiven Orion for his transgressions, right? And and now he is still hurt about this racial comment from how many weeks was that episode? Wasn't that like 3 or 4 weeks ago, y'all? Now, I'm not saying he don't have a right to be upset, and I can't tell him how to feel and how to react to it. But after you said sorry, you let it go. She did not mean ill intent. Lauren wasn't up there just making fun of this man or doing nothing like that. Even in the moment, she immediately corrected it. And you mean to tell me that you are still mad and hurt? Or Orion is giving, I just want to be a victim. I just want to be hurt. Okay? And I just want to sit in my feelings and be a sourpuss all day. That's what he's giving. That's what he's giving. I was like, is he a Gen Zer? No shade to my Gen Zers, but he's very much giving Gen Z. Like, I want to have an issue, okay? I want to be a victim. So Pastor Cal talked to him because he was like, oh yeah, she took her ring off and she had an explode, like she went off on me and blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, that's just reaction, man. Like, where Lauren at? So producers got Lauren in there. Now, mind you, on the after party, Lauren said he took his ring off. And she noticed he didn't have his ring, and I think he barely remembered to put it back on for dinner. So he set the precedent. But he didn't tell Pastor Cal that he had took his ring off. Okay? I was like, I know Orion, I know he got some nerve. I know he got some nerve. So then Lauren came in, and so she said, you know, we went through this situation. You know, I made that comment. I think Orion left. She's like, I made the comment. I shouldn't have made the comment. She's like, honestly, I don't know what else to do. Like, I apologized in the moment. Like, it was, you know, a crude joke. I don't even want to, like, you know, downplay it. It was really bad. I should not have done it. She's like, I've been researching so many things about his culture, Native Americans, all that, trying to figure it out, trying to make sure I'm aware, trying to do better. I've apologized. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I gave him grace for another situation. He did not give me grace. I know I shouldn't have threw my ring off and did all that, but I was just upset. I was at my wit's end. I don't blame her, right? So then Pastor Cal was like, well, you know, I don't have to tell you, you should have took your ring off. Now, Pastor Cal looked like he in his car on the FaceTime. Pastor Cal looked like he is tired. And you know what I said, Pastor Cal? You brought this on yourself because Lauren and Orion were not a match. They were not a match. And he gonna sit up there and talk about, oh, I thought y'all, because y'all do have these cultural differences, like that this would make y'all a perfect match. No, it does not. No, it does not. Pastor Cal, what? I could have told you that, Pastor Cal. So anywho, this is why I don't prefer to date outside my race, y'all. I'm trying to become more open to the idea, but I really prefer me a black man. Sorry. Because of those kind of situations, especially the way people are so sensitive these days. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what Lauren is doing. Lauren, she saw I feel like I got to tiptoe, do all this, walk on the tightrope. She tired. So then they brought Orion back in, right? So Lauren and Orion sitting there talking together to Pastor Cal. And so Pastor Cal was like, you know, she's forgiving you. Like, why you can't forgive her? So then Orion gives his whole speech about, you know, I would have liked to forgiven her, but every time I try to explain my side, you know, it gets cut off, and I don't ever get to explain how I felt about things, and I don't ever get to talk about it. And Lauren is like, what are you saying? Like, we haven't tried to talk about it, so don't try to say, you know, we talked about it, because that never happened. And so Lauren also was saying at some point in the episode that he was telling the different versions of the story too, of what happened. And he is, because he's making it very much more magnified talking to Pastor Cal than he was even in the moment, in my opinion. Y'all know what's going on in my throat. Let me hurry up this video because I'm out of water. So anywho, so he was definitely putting doves on his meat. And to me, Orion was very much giving, I'm telling Pastor Cal on you, Lauren, because you offended me. And now you're going to have to sit in the principal's office. I was like, Orion, who are you? Who are you? Like, okay, you were offended. She apologized. Like, what else do you want Lauren to do? So then, ooh, something's in my throat. So then he's like, yeah. So she's like, I've apologized. I've done this and that. And he's like, yeah, you right. Yeah, you have. And so she's talking about how she, you know, she's like, I don't know what else I got to do. Like, I've looked up, you know, she's talking about how she's looking up stuff, trying to make sure she on point about his culture. So Then Pastor Cal was like, he said some little proverb about forgiving people or something, giving grace. And so she was like, he's like, she's really trying to like correct it. She's trying to learn, like, is that not enough for you? He's like, honestly, unfortunately, it's not. He's like, see, the thing about it is I got all the ancestors on my back. Like my mama gonna be watching this, my sister gonna be watching this, and everybody back home, all the tribe at home gonna be watching this. And I represent the whole community and all the ancestors, and they not gonna like this. They're gonna, not, take to this very well. My mom is not gonna be happy with this. So I just cannot let it go because it's just such an impactful thing. I just cannot let it go. That's just, she just doesn't understand the magnitude of it, unfortunately. And that's just where I'm at with it. I was like, all right, first of all, the ancestors are not on your back. Okay. First of all. Second of all, this lady apologized. This lady has apologized so many times. So many times. And you cannot take her apology. Then you're over there saying, yeah, she just made a crude joke. She made a crude joke. In my opinion, it was not a crude joke. She made a joke, but I don't think it's not everything he putting on it. She wasn't even trying to joke. She said she never even used the words before. So I was like, what? I was just so baffled by his reaction to this. I was like, this cannot be real. And so, Pastor's Cal's trying to get them to talk it out. He was also mentioned something about Lauren raising and escalating her voice. She didn't like that because he didn't like that because, when he was a kid, he would have to deal with his stepdaddy coming on his sister and his mom. So it triggered him and traumatized him. I'm like, oh my God. Lauren did not even raise her voice. And see, this is the thing. See, I'm going to get into the whole black woman thing. Black women can't elevate their voice. They can't elevate their tone. Because then we angry. We're not allowed to show our emotions like dang. But then he's allowed to sit there and cry like a little bi about every little thing. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have been upset about the comment. But if you say you forgive this lady and you moved on, then move on. Stop holding her hostage to it, especially after you slut shaved her. This episode made me mad, y'all. It really made me mad. So then he talking about the first time he had somebody discriminate against him when he was a kid was in his own family. They called him an apple, red on the outside, white on the inside. Now, in my family, this is no shade. And I'm not telling him how to feel. If that is upsetting to him and his culture, that's not okay. For me and mine, we probably would have laughed at that, okay? We probably would have thought that was funny. I'm sorry. And, certain people are more sensitive than others. I'm sorry. And I feel like me and my people, we just know how to laugh. We know how to, we just know how to laugh at ourselves a little bit more. But anywho, I'm not telling nobody how to feel. And then he said, now the second time it's happening is this crude joke. I was like, what? So Lauren got tired because she was tired of defending herself and him going through all his little speech. And she's like, I don't know what else to do. Like, do I got to write this dissertation? I got to do a PowerPoint. Do I got to take a class? Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, there's nothing I can do to prove my point. There's nothing I can do. So she got up and left out crying. And that was the episode. That is where the episode ended, y'all. Look like they're headed for divorce, and they need to. Lauren deserves better. Orion, you can go back home to your mama and cry about what Lauren said, if that's how you feel. He too young to be on the show. He can go. I have nothing left for him. I have nothing left for Orion. Anyway, y'all, hopefully I didn't offend nobody on this video, okay? Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye.